speed bumps around that place have been brought into sharp perspective. Also, what we have been able to learn from Kaisari is that the accident was caused by a canter lorry that was traveling towards Naivasha. Of course, is bringing again, maybe bringing an end to that debate about the usage of trailers and tankers on that particular side route to Naivasha. And we have KTN, we'll be able to speak to KTN News senior reporter Rita Tinina, who's en route from the scene. We shall be able to get what she has for us. I also did get from Abbas Gulet the numbers, the latest numbers. A lot of reports have been ongoing, but what we do know is that 33 people have been confirmed dead. That is according to the official, figure from the government and from the Kenya Red Cross. 6 were injured from that accident. 2 were treated and discharged. 4 are still in hospital. Let's now speak to KTN News senior reporter Rita Tinina. Rita, where are you and what do we know so far? What do you have for us?
Well, Ben, we are in Karai, and that is where the accident happened last night. Right now here, crowds still gathering here. The police control some traffic. If you're coming from Nairobi heading to Nakuru before you get to the accident scene, the traffic on that side extending for about 2 kilometers. Those coming from Nakuru heading to Nairobi also traffic all the way for about a few kilometers. Police trying to control that. The crowds that are here at the scene trying to get what's going on, trying to get a peek of the wreckage. Also very many people here right now. Deputy President William Ruto was here in the last 1 hour or so, and he said he was bringing condolences from the government, from Uhuru Kenyatta. He says he spoke to the president this morning, and the president sent him to give condolences to families who had lost their loved ones, those injured in hospital. He also said that this being a black spot, it is known as a black spot, the government was putting in measures, issuing a contract to ensure that it is expanded to a dual carriageway, hoping that that will then help in reducing the number of accidents that happen here. And if you want to get an indication of how many accidents happen here, we have been trying to get eyewitnesses, those who have some shops around here.
All right.
There are several shops, a butchery. Sorry, Ben?
And Rita, speaking of witnesses, the CS Interior, Joseph Nkaiseri, has just informed the nation that this accident was caused by a canter lorry and not a trailer, not a fuel tanker. What can you tell us from what you've been able to gather from the witnesses there in Karai?
First of all, many of the witnesses, those ones who have shops here, will not speak. They say, according to the number of accidents that happen here, every time they speak, they are called in to testify in court cases as witnesses. So they don't want to appear on camera, but they are speaking to us off camera and saying there is a bump downhill when you're coming from the Kinungi side. There's a bump just a few meters from where the shops start. And they say that this canter came, hit the bump, lost control, veered off some few meters rather, before then it hit. They say the first car in front of that tanker was a car carrying GSU officers, hit that car first, and then went ahead to hit the cars that were in front of that. And they say then it sort of rolled to the right side of the driver. Now, if you're heading to the Nakuru side, rolled to the right, burst into flames. According to them, they say it was carrying something that looks like glue, but these are not experts. Perhaps we'll get to know from the expert what exactly it was carrying. But then those we have spoken to saying it was such a horrific scene. One gentleman we spoke to said they tried to rush to rescue, but there was fire all over. He says he could see people, someone running around in flames. He couldn't even describe. One gentleman as well, he couldn't speak on camera. We just started speaking to him and he broke down. He says he lost a brother and his 2 children, his nieces rather. And he says they were coming from Subukia to pay dowry and they were headed back to Nairobi. Very, very sad for him. He was actually an elderly man and he had to be carried from where we were standing by some officers here just trying to calm him down. They took him aside and sat him down. So, Ben, right now, the rescue efforts, of course, ended a few hours ago, but right now, crowds still gathering here. Traffic, a lot of traffic, both heading from Nairobi or coming from Nairobi heading to Nakuru, but the situation appears contained right now. A lot of police officers, GSU officers, regular police officers. We also saw one vehicle carrying KDF personnel also, but it didn't stop here. It just went ahead, Ben.
Rita, there has been a lot of debate concerning those bumps around that area. I've even been able to see some conversations on social media. People have been raising concerns about those bumps. But the government, this principal secretary in charge of transport, Irongo Nyakera, was saying that it is the people of around that area who wanted to erect the bumps themselves and forcing the government to erect bumps. What are they saying about those particular bumps?
Well, the issue, first of all, they're saying for a long time the bumps were not marked. So the cars, especially coming from Nairobi, since it's sort of a downhill stretch, they would come, hit the bumps, and that, they say, has caused many accidents on this spot. Those cars coming from Nakuru, at least it's not a downhill stretch, it's sort of flat. So it would be easier for someone coming from the Nakuru side heading to Nairobi, even if perhaps they were speeding, since it's not downhill, perhaps to be able to control the vehicle when they hit the bump. But they're saying for a long time the bumps were not marked. I saw a conversation on social media, someone warning that it's just a matter of time before something, a very, very bad accident happens here. That was a post in February, which was posted on social media in February. Now, months down the line, this bad accident has happened. Ben?
How is the scene looking like right now? We understand most of the vehicles that were involved were burnt beyond recognition. Just paint for us a picture of how the situation, how the scene looks like as we speak.
Ben, I would run short of words to describe that, because have you ever seen metal that has melted? There is only metal on the ground. When we got here, we were trying to look for the canter that was involved in the accident. You can't see a canter here. It has been reduced to just metal. There are a few cars, they have been marked C1, C2. I guess the police, when they were trying to get the number of cars that were involved in this accident, so they have been marked. The cars that were on the left side of the road, that is if you're heading to Nakuru, those ones, you can still see it's a shell of a car. About 6-7 cars, you can see it's a shell of a car, but just metal. Even if it was, you can't tell there was a seat in that car, you can't tell there was a steering wheel in that car. It is just the outer body, the metal. The windows, whatever was inside there was burnt. Some things, you can't even tell what melted, but there are substances. You can see something melted, and it has left some sort of a smudge along near the cars, Ben.
Thank you, Rita. Rita Tinina there in Karai, the scene of the accident, just trying to describe for us how that place looks like. Emotional. There are a lot of heartbreaking stories there from the eyewitnesses as Rita was trying to narrate to us. Let's now